You thought I didn't listen to it, did you?
I knew you were going to do that, actually.
I didn't say anything. Well, it wasn't me.
Yeah, because I told Manny like 2-3 hours ago. I was like, hey, don't tell Mike. I'm gonna put this. I think I'm gonna put this on as the for the opener, for the intro for the season, because like I listened to it last night, and of course I was just bobbing my head and I was just feeling it, and I was like, this is it. And I was just trying to think of a way to do the intro in this case. So, surprise.
Appreciate it, my man. That was dope.
I mean, worst case, we'll talk to the producer, see if we can actually keep it for the season. So there you go. So that being said, it's been months since I did this. So here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you guys are listening to this, and whenever you guys are watching this. This is season 3, baby. This is episode 1. It is the return of these 3 guys talking about something that we love, we enjoy, we cherish. Fantasy football is back, and so is the Next Up Fantasy Show. It's your boy, Will, back again with my 2 amigos, my co-host, my dear friends that I truly enjoy doing this show with each and every year. And that being said, we got to introduce you guys just a little quickly so that we can have an understanding of who everybody is. So let's go ahead and first talk up with the man that's kind of below me right now, right here, Mr. Mike Thesis. How you doing today?
Appreciate it, guys. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be back. Year 3, looking forward to a lot of positive things. You're going to get the same rhetoric, the same arguments, all the stuff that you get from us, but it should be really, really cool. Yeah, I'm just your favorite neighborhood MC, your favorite neighborhood teacher. But I do want to give shout outs to this man for saving us today.
Okay? Yes,
okay?
Sir.
And I'm not even a Golden State fan, but thank you because we almost lost against Serbia, and that would have hurt my heart. But happy to be with my guys. Let's go.
It would have been extremely disappointing, but my God, that was a good game. That was a hell of a game. Might watch it again tonight. And over here to my, let's see, how do I do this? Right, there we go. Over here to my right, straight out of Detroit, and we'll just say Michigan. Straight out of Michigan is my man, Manny B. And Manny, how you been?
I'm good. You're already trolling me saying that you're putting me with the same as the Lions, and I don't like that one bit. They're already bugging me, and I'm back with season 3 with more trolling, more making you guys mad. Our chat in Mike's league's not going to like me. Mike put me in a chat with all his friends, and they're all talking about the Cowboys. It's going to go down. Mike Lou, I'm coming for you. Dr. Seuss, yeah. We are going to – the Bills are going to be horrible this year. I'm just going to point that out. But you do have a savior in Keon Coleman. But I think people are starting to realize Josh Allen might be a little bit overrated. Let's get into it, Will and Mike.
I'm actually going to talk about the Bills on a different episode, but there's something about them I actually like better than them from last year. But we're going to talk about that later. So today's episode, we are here to talk about a lot of things that happened on the offseason. There was a multiple amount of things that ended up going down, and probably the most important thing that happened during the after the season, can't talk, was the free agency. So there was multiple hella things that came out. Some of them are more important than others. Some of them may be a case of like a hidden gem, but there's some that are a little bit more out on the obvious. So today we're going to be talking about the ones that are a little bit more obvious that came out, and we're going to be questioning about these trades and these free agency signups. So let's go ahead and actually talk about Mike actually had an inquiry about it. So let's just go ahead and start with this one. So once upon a time, the Chicago Bears had a player by the name of Justin Fields. Justin Fields wasn't really super happy. He pretty much decided to want to get traded. If you're not going to like me, if you're not going to take me for who I am, then just let me get gone. And instead, there was a team by the name of the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up signing Russ Wilson. Just when you think all was lost, They both signed with the. So Russ Wilson signed with the Steelers, and then literally like 24 to 48 hours later, Justin Fields gets traded to the Steelers. Now, we all know that there's going to be a likely chance that this is going to be a quarterback battle. We've been hearing some things during the offseason. Originally, we heard that Russ Wilson was going to be the guy, but now with Twitter talking, with camp talking, it's going to be a little bit closer than what people think. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to Mike first, since he actually had a little bit of increase in regards to it. With the Russ Wilson and Justin Fields situation, what's the first thing that comes into mind with you?
I mean, do you guys feel dangerous? Have you guys ever felt dangerous? I feel dangerous. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. That corny Subway commercial, but nah,
right.
Must be the Russ. But no, man. From a fantasy perspective, I like Justin Fields. I do like Justin Fields. However, I would be hesitant as far as drafting him because we don't know how that situation is going to play out. Mike Tomlin, kind of being an older veteran kind of coach, I believe he's going to probably go with the veteran. He's going to go with Russell Wilson initially, but it would not surprise me for Justin Fields to at some point take that job over, because I just think he's a better player than Russell Wilson at this point in their career. So we'll see. Like I said, it's a conservative system, so I can see Justin Fields not taking over until later on in the season. That's why I said I wouldn't draft him in fantasy leagues. He's an undraftable player to me, but I would keep an eye out on him. But for the future, not talking about fantasy, for the future franchise or the future, of the Steelers franchise, I think having Justin Fields can be helpful, can be beneficial. I think they have their next quarterback who'll be able to lead them for the next couple of years after Russ maybe does his thing this year. We'll see.
Definitely. Manny, your thoughts?
My thoughts are both these quarterbacks they came from, let's be real, horrible organizations. Sean Payton kind of sucks. And if it wasn't for Drew Brees, we wouldn't be talking about him. I think Russell Wilson doesn't get the love he kind of deserves with the Seahawks. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champ. How many quarterbacks in the league right now can you say is Super Bowl champs? 3? He's going to come back. Tomlin's a good coach. I think Steelers are going to be good with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback. I think they brought in Justin Fields, though, for the future. Justin Fields is a great quarterback. I've seen him since Ohio State days. Me and Mike actually brought up that Justin Fields actually throws better than C.J. Stroud. But Justin Fields, the same, came from a crappy organization. You're going to see it with Caleb Williams, how bad it really is. He has more weapons than Justin Fields. But I think Justin Fields, in the long term, if you're in Dynasty, will be a good grab because he is the future at the Steelers.
Now, this may be – I know we're talking about Justin Fields and Russ Wilson, but I just want to answer this quick question real quick. Do you think it's possible – we know that the Steelers are more so known for being a running team, a run-heavy team. Do you feel that actually still continues even with Russ?
I mean, Russ isn't super slow.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be more of like he could scramble out of the pocket if he needs to, but I think Najee Harris, will do well. So,
Mike? Yeah, with them having Harris and Warren still there, right? They still have Jaylen Warren.
Jaylen Warren's still there.
Right, still there. So with those two running backs, I think they'll be a run-heavy team. I think Russell will kind of do the same thing he did in Seattle when they had Marshawn Lynch, kind of defer to the run game. And then when they need him to roll out or they need him to make plays with his legs, he can do so. So I still don't think they'll be run-oriented. Yeah.
You got to also think that the Steelers previous had Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, all these quarterbacks that defenses weren't scared of. At least with Russell Wilson, he could put in some damage. So now you have the defense thinking could open up the run game a little bit more. With Najee Harris, because I know that's been a thing where he's only getting 2 yards a carry. He's not doing well efficiency-wise. That might have been because the defense knew that they're going to make Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett beat him over the top. Now they have to worry about that. Maybe that opens up the run game.
Over under, Justin Fields starts 5.5 games this year.
Under.
Under. I go under as well. I think Russell Wilson is going to have to either look horrible or get injured for that to happen.
There you go. Other quarterbacks that got signed up, since we're talking about them, Carson Wentz, the backup now for the Chiefs of all places. Jimmy G signed with the Rams. But Jimmy G, I've been reading that he hasn't been doing very well at camp. Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco, the damn near the savior for the Browns last year, ended up signing up with the Colts. And Sam Darnold, which kind of should be interesting, one to keep an eye on, signed up with the Vikings. If the rookie isn't doing well, we do have to keep our eye at least on Sam Darnold for Justin Jefferson shares. So
2 things.
What's up?
Sam Darnold's going to start, I believe. I think JJ can't throw. McCarthy is going to come in after the bye week. That's my kind of take. Also, you forgot the GOAT Gardner Minshew signed with the Raiders.
I was about to say Gardner Minshew signed with the Raiders, but like,
he'll be the starter.
Legitimately, how relevant is that?
I think he'll be the start. I mean, he's more relevant than Jimmy G. He'll be a starting quarterback half the season. Watch.
They like Aiden O'Connell in Vegas.
Do they?
Why?
They do.
Why? That's crazy to me. Yeah, I don't know.
Because he looks like Derek Carr. All right, moving on. So moving on. One of the players that we actually didn't talk about purposely in the quarterback realm is one that's going to be probably when he first got signed, it was one of the most interesting thoughts in fantasy. And we're talking about Manny's favorite squad outside of the Cowboys, Kirk Cousins going down to Atlanta. So let's talk about this for a second. We had a lot of fun talking all the mess about Atlanta last year. And that was because of one person that wanted to put in a comment saying that they were going to for sure be a top 15 offense and defense. Didn't work that way, and we laughed at them a lot.
Every episode.
Damn near every episode. Mike was the now calm down, everybody. But me and Manny kind of went hard on him. So
nope. Don't try to show us up.
But this year is a little bit different. We know the resume behind Kirk Cousins. And of course, the funny part was the fact that they still drafted a quarterback in the top 10 in the NFL draft this year. So not sure if they have any or that much confidence in Kirk Cousins, but let's just call it what it is. Kirk Cousins is going to start this year with the Falcons. Now, with players like Drake London, I was going to say Rondale Moore, but he just got a season-ending injury earlier today, so get better, bro. And Kyle Pitts. So with wide receivers like those, along with Bijan Robinson and still with Algier, like, Manny, do you feel that Kirk Cousins can be, let's go with top 8 quarterback in fantasy?
No, I don't think top 8. I think top 12, possibly. Okay. Like I said, Drake London, you're going to have a lot of dump off passes to Bijan Robinson. So I wouldn't. And Mike's guy that he said last year, I'm done drafting him if he does horrible this year. I'm over it. But he might have to give Kyle Pitts another try, because I think the Atlanta Falcons offense is going to be great. Their defense gotten a little bit better, but they got Captain Kirk. He knows what a thing or two. Look what Justin Jefferson's a new talent, like a different generational talent, but he also had Adam Thielen and all of them, Stephon Diggs, and he did well throughout his career. He even did well with the Commanders. So I think Atlanta, all in all, is kind of dumb as an organization for drafting Michael Penix, just because Michael Penix, I think Kirk Cousins has a 2 to 3 year contract. Michael Penix is almost 30 by that time his contract's up, with ACL tears on both legs, I believe. So he's got one shot. If he gets hit in the kneecap again, it's over for Michael Penix. I'm so surprised they drafted him. They went and got Captain Kirk, which I liked. Drake London's I think is gonna be a shocker to most people because he does like targeting one receiver as one receiver, and he goes to town with them. So we'll see.
I feel that. Why stay away from Kyle Pitts this year? I mean, that may sound like a shot in the dark, but like, I don't know. We know what Kirk Cousins can do, and Kyle Pitts, there's kind of no doubt that like he's likely going to get the best season that he's had so far in his career.
Yep.
Mike, what's the first thing that comes into mind with Kirk?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. I tell my students that all the time. But with that being said, yeah, I'm definitely in on Kyle Pitts this year. It's a different situation. So I did say that in the past, but yeah, this year will be the year to green light him and go ahead and give him a shot. I like the Kirk move to Atlanta. The Michael Penix situation, I feel a little differently than Manny. Like, I think Michael Penix is really good. I do. He does have an extensive injury history, but that guy's been a menace ever since he was at Indiana University, just destroying defense. So I really like Michael Penix for me. But like Manny said, he's an older player, so it sucks because I need to see him play now. I don't want to wait till he's 30 to see the guy play. Then he's probably going to play for 4 years and then have to retire or something like that. But I do think that Kirk Cousins definitely brings value to everyone in the Atlanta organization. I think it makes things easier for Bijan, makes things easier for Drake London. Wish they would have drafted a wide receiver probably instead of Michael Penix because now Moore's hurt, but oh well, that's what happens when you draft a luxury pick, somebody that you probably can't use. But I think it definitely makes all those players better. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it right now. I think Bijan Robinson's the best running back in the league, but he just didn't get a chance to really show that last year. So I'm hoping this year with a different coach, with Kirk Cousins, he'll have a chance to actually show what he can do.
Do you think he'll be top 12? I guess I want to know your advice. Another reason I guess I didn't say why he'd be top 12 is fantasy football is a running game for quarterbacks. You can be a crappy quarterback if you run, then you're gonna easily become a top 12 quarterback. So I guess that was kind of my reason. I didn't really answer you, Will. So I kind of want to say, because Kirk Cousins is slow, but he could pass the ball, he kind of makes up for it. That's why he's not going to be a top.
You didn't say that he'll be a top 8, so you kind of answered it. But as far as him being able to, as far as him trying to be able to be a top 12, it's close. 12 is close. 8 is not out of the realms of possibility, but it will be tougher for someone that doesn't run to actually get there. So the assumption would be that he would have to have a career season pretty much this season. And so that definition would be at least 45 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm taking the under on that one.
Yeah, he doesn't have a line. Like, there's one quarterback in like, Mike, you probably know who I'm talking about. He kind of was trash last year, but he kept getting pushed for 1 yard and getting touchdowns. So his fantasy value looked really good. But all in all, he was so bad. Like, didn't come up in clutch. But, man, he could fall over into the end zone a lot. Right. So
all that brotherly love, right?
All that brotherly love. Getting pushed in the butt, right in there. Will, do you know what we're talking about?
I don't know anything when it comes to pushing butts. So don't come at me like that.
Great old Philly cheesesteaks, do.
I mean, Mark Sanchez. That's the first thing I think about with butts in football. So yeah, I'm gonna. It depends on how you draft with them this year, because with a Kirk Cousins like that, he's going to be available. Like he's kind of in that realm of like a Kirk Cousins, and I know Mike's a fan of him, Joe Burrow, a couple other quarterbacks kind of in that realm, and they're safe. They're safe. If you need just like an acceptable floor for your quarterback in fantasy, that's going to be your guy. Those are going to be your guys, no question about that. So let's go ahead and jump into let's jump into running backs. So there was a couple of those smaller, like small league ones that ended up getting signed up as I keep scrolling up and down here. Royce Freeman going to Dallas. Alexander Madison going to the Raiders. Let's see. Chase Edmonds going to the Bucks. And there's an extent where to me it doesn't matter, but Aaron Jones going to the Vikings, Austin Eckler to the Commanders, Zach Moss to the Bengals, and one we're going to talk about right now is actually I got a couple of them. So let's go ahead and actually go first with a person that I called trash and just done last year, Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry got signed with Baltimore. And everyone would probably feel like this is like the dream match. This is the perfect place for Derrick Henry to get signed with, to be to pretty much get his groove back. But I kind of have some thoughts about it when it comes to him, because like I'll go ahead and I'll do my impression of Jordan Stallion. Let's see if I can do this. Come here. So pretty much y'all like that? Anyway, so the situation that I have with Derrick Henry is just the fact that, like, I feel that he's on the downslope of his career, even though he does have about 2 or 3. He has like a 2 or 3 year contract still remaining, or remaining that he signed with Baltimore. But you also have Lamar Jackson. Like Lamar Jackson, he's usually going to be that guy that's going to be handling the carries where it mostly counts, which is usually the goal line, and that could be a little bit scary trying to get an idea of how to value Derrick Henry. Like with Derrick Henry, like we put him like I think it was like late first, early second last year, and with the upside, like the upside is tremendous with Derrick Henry. He can be the guy that puts up 20 touchdowns this year. With the amount of yardage to match and things like that. Not sure if he's still not 100% a great pass catcher, but he does pass catches, or he does catch passes, but on the average of like 1 or 2 per game. And when it comes to volume like that, he's not necessarily the running back that I would confidently want when it comes to like security anyway. With the running back. So like I'm still kind of iffy on Derrick Henry, but like this is just me. This is just my opinion. So that being said, let's get to Manny. What jumps out with you when it comes to Derrick Henry this year?
The RPO game in Baltimore is going to be very scary. Will, I do agree about the goal line carries, but they never had a Derrick Henry on their team. They did have Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards did a lot of that, 1 yard line, heavy duty, getting into the end zone. They didn't have a brotherly love push. So, but I think it's going to be scary. What scares me is Derrick Henry's getting old. And usually when running backs get old and change teams, they don't turn out to be as good as what people think. I believe Derrick Henry is a 2nd round pick. So that's what a top. You're kind of investing him to be your RB1. I don't like that for Derrick Henry this year. And hate me all you want. It's kind of a risky take, but let's see how it plays out. I hope one of you guys agree with me, but I think Derrick Henry is not going to be the Derrick Henry that we know. But I think he will get goal lines, but I don't think he's going to be like the 20-20 type running back we're used to seeing.
For him to be valuable, does he need to be that?
Yes. As an RB1 top, like you're drafting him in the 2nd round.
Okay. Mike, thoughts?
Yeah. And I know I got it. I unmuted myself, man. No doubt, man. That's what you're here for, man. I appreciate the looking out. But from a football perspective, not talking fantasy, from a football perspective, I like Derrick Henry. I think he still has enough in the tank to where if you pair him up with somebody like Lamar Jackson, he can be effective. From a fantasy perspective, I actually agree with Manny saying I wouldn't be targeting him as a RB1. I just don't feel like I think those days have passed. I think there's better options that you can probably find. I would probably even rather take a chance on maybe somebody, a younger player. I wanted to say Chase Brown. I don't know, though Zach Moss kind of scares me being there, but I'd want to take a chance on a younger player. So I think his best days are behind him. But at the same time, if you're in a league and Derrick Henry's falling, I think he's a good pickup to pick up later on in the draft, because I do think he'll give volume, and I do think that he can be effective, at least with his touchdown scoring ability.
Go ahead.
I got something for you guys. We played a game last year on who would you rather have before the draft pick. He is going RB10, 22nd overall.
Okay.
It's too high.
20th overall, Devon Achane.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So the number 9 running back, say you're coming in, you have to decide between these 3 running backs. Who are you picking? At RB9, 20th overall, Devon Achane. 10, Derrick Henry. 11 at 24 is Josh Jacobs. And you also have, if you want to reach 26, Isaiah Pacheco. I'm picking Devon Achane 100% of the time over Derrick Henry. That's me.
There's more upside. I think he's still going to split the backfield, though, right? Is he the number 1 guy now?
Devon?
Achane? Yeah, he's splitting carries with the. Is Mostert still there?
Yeah,
Mostert still there?
But Achane, when
he's so explosive.
Yeah, when he's healthy, he's the man.
Yeah,
like Devon Achane, I am trying to pick up on every draft I possibly can.
Good to know.
And that depends on how it actually legitimately does depend on how I'm drafting, because that means just like what Manny just talked about, if Achane is going to be in the second round, mid to late second round, then that means I have to make sure that the wide receiver that I have that I'll get in the first round has to be a powerhouse. Yep. So that being said, I do have to feel that he's going to be there, and even if it's early second round, I may look into getting Achane early just so I know, just because of that upside. Like that's just an insane situation that Achane is. And who did you say afterwards?
Josh Jacobs or Isaiah Pacheco. So that's who Derrick Henry's kind of going around as the RB, like running back. I'm not even talking about like the wide receiver, like overall.
It's gonna depend on who else who's around, but like Pacheco, I'm kind of keeping my eye on as well.
Yep.
But yeah, like I wouldn't pick Derrick Henry over either of those players. Is my point.
I might take him over Jacobs. Yeah, I might personally. But I would love to see him kind of fall into that. I'm a Cowboy fan, but fall into that Marion Barber role, right, where he can just be a short yardage guy and get those touchdowns.
Yep.
You know,
I think that.
But I agree with you though, Will. I wouldn't take him over Achane, and I definitely wouldn't take him over who's the other guy you said? Not Jacobs, but Pacheco. Yeah, I would take Pacheco over him as well.
And there's a wide receiver that's going around there that I would take 100% of the time. So if Achane's not there, Chris Olave is right next to him, and I'm picking Chris Olave over Derrick Henry as well for upside.
Yes,
I can see that.
So,
and let's talk about the old running backs that were there. So we're talking about someone that Manny just talked about right now, who both ended up going to, of all places, the Chargers. Both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, former teammates from Baltimore, end up becoming new teammates over in L.A. Now, of course, we're talking about this. Of course, we're talking about this mainly because the Chargers no longer have Austin Eckler. They pretty much said, you know what, Austin Eckler, we gave that last year a shot and just wasn't working, bro. Joshua Kelly, I believe, is still there, but also at the same time, he ain't in it either. So they just ended up signing up both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Now, we both know Dobbins does have a history with injuries.
Yep.
But when he's not injured, he is explosive. Gus Edwards, when also not injured, he's a pretty decent person. He's a pretty good goal line back. So I emphasize this pick, or I wanted to talk about this one because of the expectation for the Chargers this year. Simply Justin Herbert. Well, first of all, he's hurt right now. Justin Herbert, when he's not injured, he lost all of his weapons. He lost Mike Williams to the Jets. He lost Keenan Allen to the Bears. he lost Austin Eckler to the Commanders. Like, there's not really much familiarity. Like Quentin Johnson, as much as I liked him last year, he's still him. It's him and Joshua Palmer, and I'm pretty sure that there is another receiver there that I'm not talking about that got signed there. Hayden Hurst signed over there, but DJ Shark. DJ Shark signed with the Chargers.
I hate the Chargers.
Everybody hates the Shark, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But like my inquiry here is, for some reason I feel that, and I think it's pretty much because of Manny's boy Jim Harbaugh is going. They're going to be a running team. They're going to be grounding and pounding the ball more often than they did last year. And because of that, like, there's a bit of intrigue in both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Now they're being picked up on late. They're picked up in late rounds. But like, so I'm kind of thinking in here, like, at the very worst case scenario, a flex or one of your top stashes on your benches. So I'll get to Manny on this one. Like, I know this one's a little bit harder to try to argue whether it's a good or a bad deal, but give me your thoughts on these two running backs.
So I'm biased because I can't. I'm petty, and
of course you are.
And I can't stand Jim Harbaugh, so I'm not drafting any Chargers on my team. They're going to suck, but like you said, I think J.K. Dobbins, he had a freak injury. It's not like, a consistent injury. We talked about that with Christian McCaffrey. I think J.K. Dobbins could get it done, but late round. I don't like anybody else. I don't like Justin Herbert. I don't. I never did. I think he's overrated. I don't like their coaching staff. They're all a bunch of cheaters. So maybe they cheat and do well, but I'm not drafting any Chargers. Can't stand them.
All right.
Sorry.
There's the take.
And you're petty too, so you're probably going to get the same answer.
You know what? Just for giggles, why not? Mike, what are your thoughts?
Cheating.
Well, I'm glad somebody finally told the truth about Justin Herbert. I'm tired of watching all these ESPN prognosticators. Excuse me, I got like something in here flying around. But I'm tired of watching all these ESPN dudes on ESPN, make their top 10 and leave Dak out and put Justin Herbert in. But then they argue about Dak. He hasn't won the playoffs. Like, Justin Herbert's never won a playoff game. So what are you talking about? Like, last time they were up by 30 or 20 something against the Jaguars, they lost that game, right? So I'm not trying to bring that back for any Charger fans right here. I know that probably makes you feel bad, but he's not better than Dak. So let's just get that out of the way. So thank you, Manny, for that. But yeah, if I had to pick between the two, I actually like them both, but they're going to be later picks in the draft because there's a lot of uncertainty. Like, I don't really know who's going to be the starting running back for the Chargers. I believe J.K. Dobbins probably has a better chance. And I think he's a little bit better than Gus Edwards, but his injury history scares me. But they both get injured all the time. So, yeah, it's really hard to say. But good old Ohio State, I'm going to go with J.K. Dobbins. And Harbaugh is a kind of coach who likes to run the ball a lot.
To cheat.
And do all those other things that dastardly people like him do, old khaki pants. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do, but I'll give my nod to J.K. Dobbins, and we'll see what happens.
So
is Dre a Michigan fan? Is it Dre?
Dre is a Michigan fan.
I hope you enjoy your tainted title because it's getting vacated. You suck. You're going to lose in the fantasy league just because you're a Michigan fan. I just want to point that out there. You could clip this, Will. Send it to Dre. I don't care. Bring him on the podcast.
Mike, isn't Dre a Cowboys fan?
He needed to hear that. He is, but he still needed to hear that. Because I hate Michigan too. He knows that. I can't stand him.
Tainted title.
We're talking about taint here on our show. This is
sorry. I got a lot of built up energy towards Michigan lately.
Hey, did you root for Michael Phelps?
Did I?
In the Olympics. Did you root for him?
Oh no.
I didn't.
Oh wow. You're official.
Sure you did it. Okay.
Now you made me feel like I'm American. I couldn't answer that because now you made me feel like American.
You're not going for America. What the hell?
No.
You're good. The Olympics made me just think about that. But you remember that Chappelle skit with like for the biggest hater?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I gotta send you a chalice or something for the biggest Michigan hater because you're even worse than me.
Yeah, I hate him. I hate him. They're the scum between my toes. I didn't even. I'm such a big hater. This isn't about Michigan, but I was kind of like, okay, if LeBron loses, I don't have to hear LeBron fans tell me that he's the GOAT again. So, but I was happy they won that game. But if they did lose, I was there. I was waiting.
Right. I got you.
All the player haters ball memes. I'm just gonna put on Manny's side of the screen on editing. It's good to be back. So let's go ahead and go to. Actually, I want to talk about this one real quick, and then we'll get to the wide receivers. I want to talk about Joe Mixon going to Houston. Now, y'all know that I was a fan of Dameon Pierce, and he just was horrific last year. And maybe it could also be just the fact that he just didn't get as much chances as I wanted him to. But lo and behold, they end up getting Joe Mixon in the mix, pun intended, along with the increased, all of a sudden, explosive offense that Houston has over there. So I guess the question, I'll ask this real quick, like Joe Mixon, does he come back to form? And we'll go back with 12 again. We'll go with the number 12 this time. Is he going to be a top 12 in fantasy league this year?
No. Top 24. There's too many good running backs. And I don't think he's much better than Dameon Pierce, to be honest with you. I think he was in a good situation with the Bengals, the play calling there. He's 1 year older. I don't think Houston is a team that likes to run that much. They're a spread. I'm going to launch the ball to Nico and Tank Dell. I actually think Stephon Diggs is going to be a bad pick this year because there's not enough room for him. And I don't like the older wide receivers that transfer, just like I don't like running backs that leave the older running backs leave to a different team. Stephon Diggs is the same. And Stephon Diggs gets a little attitude if he doesn't get the ball. And I don't think fans of Texans are really seeing this, but I might be I don't know if they're going to be as great as what people think they're going to be this year. I can see a step back, but it's a hot take. So
I can kind of see. I mean, it's kind of how I felt with the Bengals last year, where they made it to the Super Bowl the year prior. And I mean, don't get us wrong, kudos to them. But at the same time, like I did kind of expect them to fall back a little bit. But they still ended up doing pretty decent last year, even with the injuries and such. So shout out to them. So I'm not sure. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that, but I do understand your point of view. Mike, quick take for Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Joe Mixon scares me. Just for all the reasons that Manny listed. I mean, it could go either way, right? Like I could definitely see him being top 12. There are enough offensive weapons where I can see him being able to kind of fit in that scheme and get the job done. But at the same time, I could see him not having a lot of opportunities because I agree they're probably a throw first kind of team. So top 12, I'm going to agree with Manny and say he falls slightly outside the top 12. I'd probably say he's top 15. I do respect Joe Mixon. I think he's good. I think he's better than Dameon Pierce, but like you said, how much better is he going to be? I do think that with his last team, he did have a lot of opportunity because they had a lot of wide receivers that you had to pay attention to. You had to pay attention to T. Higgins. You have to pay attention to Jamar Chase. You have to pay a little bit of attention to Taj Boyd, So there were people there that opened up the field for him, which is kind of similar in Houston. So that's why I say I can see him producing. But he is another year older, and I've never been the biggest Joe Mixon guy. So I think he falls slightly outside the top 12. I have him about top 15. But if you can get him as your RB2, I think that's a decent pickup.
Does Joe Mixon, or excuse me, does CJ Stroud throw a bunch to the running back?
In college, he did. Last year, I'm not sure. I can't lie to you. I didn't watch a lot of Texans games last year. I don't know if Dameon Pierce is really a ball catching kind of dude out of the backfield.
Last year. It was Devin Singletary did a lot of work last year.
That's right. It was. Thank you. You're right. It was Devin Singletary. He played great actually when he was in there. He did really well.
So I'm really curious. It's kind of why I ask, because like if Joe Mixon is going to be doing the replacement of Devin Singletary, I'm kind of curious if Joe Mixon can get back into it. Like he could be like really close to like a 12 or an 11 as far as
I got a question.
the top 12. So go ahead.
Joe Mixon or Kenneth Walker?
Kenneth Walker.
Joe Mixon or Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, we don't disagree that much. So let's say, hey, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Joe Mixon or Alvin Kamara?
Alvin Kamara.
They're all like right next to each other on the draft board. So I think I would go Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara. Actually, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon as like my 1, 2, 3.
I did the same. Was a little different.
Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker.
See, I don't know. I just don't. So it looks like Joe Mixon's where he's getting drafted. He is getting drafted as the 16th overall running back.
16, okay, running back. Okay, I was about to say 16 overall. Jeez,
I had him at about 15. That's how I view him, about in that range. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. And let's go ahead and finish up this episode with wide receivers. Wide receivers. Let me take a look here. Calvin Ridley signed with the Titans. Curtis Samuel, which I'm actually keeping my eye on, signed with the Bills. Mike Williams signed with the Jets. Cordell Patterson, technically not a wideout, but he kind of was anyway. Signed with the Steelers. Michael Gallup with the Raiders. We already talked with Shark going to the Chargers. Darnell Mooney going to the Falcons, and I think that's significant because Rondale Moore is out for the year once again. So Darnell Mooney may be pushing into that running back or wide receiver 2. And Gabe Davis going to the Jaguars. So, but the one I want to point out real quick is Hollywood, baby. Marquise Brown going to Kansas City. Marquise Brown last year in Arizona with a comeback of Kyler Murray didn't really do that bad. Actually, there was one game that he had last year. I believe that he ended up. Actually, I think it was the year before where he caught like 17 catches in one game or something like that. But Marquise Brown was indeed the guy to keep your eye on with that offense, wide receiver wise, especially with the fact and this was even including during the times that Kyler Murray was injured. But and by the way, Arizona is going to be interesting this year. Marvin Harrison, even James Conner, even old man Conner, feel that he could do some damage, and Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's sneaky this year. So anyway, I'll just continue on with Marquise Brown. So outside of Tyreek Hill, this is probably one of the better wide receivers that Mahomes has had joining his team. And we all know that that Mahomes doesn't necessarily need a great receiver to do all that he does. So with that being said, also with a Worthy having all the highlights on Twitter, on YouTube that I'm pretty sure everyone has seen before. Marquise Brown going to Kansas City. Does this actually make Marquise Brown? This is going to be a little bit of a bold question. Does this make Marquise Brown a wide receiver 1 in fantasy? Like maybe not Tyreek Hill numbers, but probably more. Let's go with last year when Adam Thielen had a very good run in Carolina, wide receiver 1. We'll go that way.
Go ahead, Mike.
You already mentioned the guy I like. Xavier Worthy's my guy. That's my dude. I'm really excited to see what he's able to do with that with Patrick Mahomes. But I might be the odd man out, but he's not a wide receiver 1 to me. Okay. Now with playing with Mahomes, I can see that happening. I think he will give you wide receiver 1 production at times. I do think he will do that. He will have some weeks where he pops off and he gives you that production. But consistently, it just seems like Mahomes, he's going to spread the ball around. He's not really, he doesn't force feed their offense isn't predicated on force feeding anyone. He kind of just, if you're open, he's going to find you. So, well, unless you're Kelsey, right? Kelsey, he'll definitely be a tight end one. But with Kelsey and Pacheco, and then with all the other weapons they have at wide receiver, I don't think that Marquise Brown will be a wide receiver one, but I do think he'll be really, really good for them, and helping them. He's better than what they had last year. And I think having him and Worthy, those guys are super fast. They're going to give people fits. I think their offense could be kind of similar to a Dolphin offense where they have Waddle and Hill, and they're kind of just running crazy all over the place. So I can see them being really effective, but I wouldn't call them a wide receiver one, in my opinion.
And let's not forget, Rashid Rice is still there, and
that's right.
We don't know, with all his accolades outside of the football field, we don't know if he's going to be suspended, and if he is suspended, we don't know when, and we don't know how long. So that's actually also a scary thought, and that's also another thing to think about with Marquise Brown. Manny, thoughts?
So me and Mike are just on the same wavelength today. You know who this reminds me of?
Who?
The Juju Smith-Schuster signing with Kansas City. Everyone was hype on Juju going to Kansas City, and it didn't work out because, like Mike said, Patrick Mahomes just gets it to the person that's open. He doesn't care who you are. You got to realize McCole Hardman's still there too. Like, he came back and won a Super Bowl with you. So it's not like great wide receivers, but they're capable wide receivers. I think Marquise Brown is just going to be another Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm avoiding Marquise Brown. Hopefully someone takes him over, like, around me, because Keenan Allen is right near on this what I'm looking at. It says Hollywood Brown's the 34th wide receiver. Keenan Allen is the 33rd. Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison, Mike's guy Xavier Worthy, Rashid Rice, Christian Watson. Like, there's a lot of like capable players that I think have better upside than what Marquise Brown has, that I would rather have. So I don't know. I think Marquise Brown is the next Juju Smith-Schuster. We're just not seeing it, because when Juju signed, we were all like gung ho on getting Juju. He got a quarterback. Look how good he was with the Steelers. He's going over. He's gonna dominate. Didn't work out that way.
I got the receipts. Go on Instagram. Check out what my thoughts were with Juju Smith-Schuster. I was never a fan of him, but
that's crazy that you're a fan of Marquise Brown then, because I feel like it's the same thing.
I'm not going to go
receiver too.
I'm not going to go as far as a wide receiver one, but I am gonna go into something similar that Mike said, that he's going to have his numbers on occasion. It's not going to be every single time. But I'm not gonna say wide receiver one. He may be an acceptable wide receiver two. He may be an acceptable flex, but not exactly at the wide receiver one. I would like for him. I feel that he can reach that, but also it's gonna depend on what happens with everybody else. What happens with Rashid? What happens with Worthy? How much play time is that? And remember, the concern last year with Rashid Rice was, we know how good Rice is, but he didn't play that much. Like, he slowly increased to get the volume. Like, it took probably week 11, week 12 to actually get Rashid Rice to get like 70% of the snaps. And when he was getting targeted. So I'm kind of curious with Marquise Brown, if he improves, if he starts off with, like, let's say 80% snap rate, what the return is going to be. Like, how many targets that he's going to get and things of that nature. That's what I'm kind of curious about. And with Marquise, I don't think, like I said, I don't think he's going to be a number one, but I don't want to go away from him. I don't want to not draft him, because I understand where he can be down the line, if that makes sense. So not exactly one, but I'm keeping my eye on him.
Patrick Mahomes is also the quarterback that he has to trust you fully to throw you the ball.
I would say give them time. They're going to be this weekend. They're playing a quarter together. They're going to be playing a quarter together down there, and I feel that that's going to be a way to see if whether or not Marquise gets that trust in him.
Yep.
What was the who was the guy last year? Who was it last year that ended up? What was Kadarius Toney? Yeah, like it. No, that was the one we were all hyped. I was hyped about Kadarius Toney, but like
I was too. I'm not gonna lie.
He failed so bad. Like I really wanted him to work out, but it was so horrible. I wish he did well, but it just didn't work. There was one more. There was one more that I wanted to talk about, and I'll actually leave the floor to Mike because he talked about it as far as who he wanted to talk about, and that's going to be Jerry Jeudy over to Cleveland.
Okay, yeah. Jerry Jeudy in Cleveland. That's an interesting one. I actually wrote not notes like that, but I have a little something. Okay, so Jerry Jeudy. It just surprised me and shocked me that they were able to get him for that. But he was traded for a 2024 5th and 6th round pick. I would really love if the Cowboys would do stuff like that. We have 5th and 6th round picks. Give them up. You know. No. I know, yeah, but I don't live in that kind of reality, unfortunately. But no, I think Jerry Jeudy, like I was telling you guys earlier, I think that Jerry Jeudy is really not a wide receiver one. He's not a top guy. He was in college. They say he's a great route runner. All that is fine. But the NFL is a little different. I think being a number 2, playing next to somebody like Amari Cooper, or who knows, perhaps Brandon Ayuk will. Even though I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. But him playing next to a bona fide number 1, I think will aid him, and it'll make him a lot better of a player. He should be a lot more productive. Now, the quarterback situation is what I was talking about as well. It depends on how you believe, or if you believe in Deshaun Watson, right? I like Deshaun, but he really hasn't, like Kendrick told Drake, he really haven't given us anything to believe in. Really, lately. So I need to see how that plays itself out. I almost wish Flacco was still there. I'm not going to lie. I thought Flacco did really, really great for them. Right. But they gave Deshaun all that money, traded draft picks away for Deshaun, so Deshaun has to start. He has to do his thing. So with Watson, with the nice running back that they have, Chubb's coming back. I believe they still have Ford. You have Cooper. Now you have Jeudy. And you have Njoku. I mean, they have a pretty good offense. So I think Jeudy, if he can just play his role, play his part, I think he can be pretty productive. So that'll be somebody I'll probably be targeting later on in drafts.
So with all that being said, I want to go ahead and do the plant flag. I'm going back to repeating how I felt about the Browns last year. I was a huge fan of getting Deshaun Watson late. I would think around like the 9th or 10th round. I was a fan of that. Amari Cooper, I never really got too many shares of him. David Njoku, I did. But now with the mix of Jerry Jeudy, like you guys knew that, you guys know I'm a fan of Jerry Jeudy. So it's just a different place, new opportunity. So I kind of feel that he's going to have that, and Deshaun Watson would be able to sling the ball to him whenever possible. Nick Chubb is going to be out for likely half the year. Don't trust that video of him. What was it? 510 pounds. Doing doing the 510 pound squat.
I'm all in.
Don't believe that. No,
I'm all in
because he's likely not going to be back until like week 8 or week 9.
Can you squat 5'10"?
Can you?
No, I'm all in. Nick Chubb, baby, he's coming back.
The hell he is. No, it's not that he isn't. Like it's not that he isn't. It's just that when he does get back, is he going to be the same Nick Chubb? I know we asked this with a lot of players who get injured. Like, is he going to be the same that he used to be? Is he going to have the same speed? Is he going to have the same shake? Like is he simply going to be the same player?
His quads are about to be massive, squatting 520.
You know that.
Yeah, I think you're right though. It's going to take him a couple weeks to actually start. Even when he comes back. Remember Jonathan Taylor?
Yes.
Zach Moss took the Ram like for 3 extra weeks when Jonathan Taylor came back, and I think that's going to be the same thing with Nick Chubb. But
I'm in with Jerome Ford this year.
I'm not.
I am. I'm cool with Jerome Ford this year.
Yeah,
like he needs to work a little bit more on his pass catching, but I'm kind of in with Jerome Ford this year. But
everyone listening, Will last year Will celebrated when Nick Chubb went out and he picked up Jerome Ford in front of everyone, and it was like, haha, I picked up Jerome Ford in front of all you guys. So I just want to point that out there why he loved Jerome Ford.
Well, first of all, let's if you could do that, let's correct it as far as what was actually said. I'm
correct. I'm correct.
All, I didn't say anything. I said nothing about Nick Chubb getting hurt.
I'm correct.
I literally only thing I did was pick up Jerome Ford before he did, and then he got mad. And then what did I do in return on that chat? I put in that one gift from the Geico commercial saying, "Oh, you got to be quicker than that." That's all I did. That's all I did.
You know, I would like to take responsibility for that injury because I've never had Nick Chubb before. I've never been able to get him. I've always wanted him, but never could get him. I played like in 6 leagues. Last year in one of the leagues I play in, I had like the 4th pick. I took Nick Chubb. I'm like, yeah, I finally have Nick Chubb. You know, I'm going to see what happens. And then he gets hurt. So that was on me. I'm going to stay away from Nick Chubb this year to help everyone else in fantasy.
Thank you.
Don't worry about Mike. I will not be taking him. But I do think he's a beast. And I think he could win you a league later on. You know, when we get to playoff time and stuff like that. But I won't be taking, not because I don't want him, but I don't want to jinx the man. Do your thing, Nick. I'm going to leave you alone.
There you go. So that's going to be our show for today. This was a good one. And just in general, it's just good to be back with the crew again, doing some new stuff, new theme music, new everything here. And next week, we're going to be coming back and we're going to be talking about rookies because there's going to be a decent amount. There may be a number 1 overall draft pick that we may talk about. There may be a couple of receivers, one in Arizona, one in New York that we're going to be talking about, and one specifically from the heart in Dallas that we're going to be talking about next week. So, for the Nxt Up Crew, for Mike Thesis, what up, what up?
Hey, what's up, guys? It was good. It was good to come back and kind of stretch the legs, get ready for season 3. So much love to you, my brothers. If I don't say it, man, I love you guys. It was nice being here with you guys, and I'm looking forward to this year. It should be fun.
For Michigan's prodigal son, Manny B and Manny.
I'm excited to get the dust off. Episode 1 in the book, season 3. And like Mike said, love you guys as well. It's good to get on and just, you know, talk. I usually talk to myself, but now people are listening. So I like that. And maybe Mike might send me a different beat and I'll rap on it, you know, Dr. Seuss it up. So maybe that's for the mid-season.
I got you.
Seuss had bars.
I've been listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar lately. I think I got some bars in my pocket.
Oh, you got a couple. I know. Man, he's one of the dudes. He's one of those dudes who's like, I don't, you know, and then he's gonna come out with his fire. I just know it. So
I listen to a lot of Lil Wayne. Metaphors are gonna be my thing. I got a lot of bars in my pocket. They're heavy, you know.
I see you.
He's gonna be doing black and white music. That's what we call a mixtape. It's your boy Will. Actually, that's Childish Gambino. I just like that line. It's your boy Will. You guys have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, evening, whichever one I forgot to say. Whenever you guys are listening, whenever you guys are watching. Until next week, rookies coming up. We'll see y'all next week. Deuces.
Peace.